So I'd done nothing this week until yesterday, where I decided to spend a few hours of my time to go and see Avatar 2: The Way of Water.
Ooh.
nutter.
Let's see.
Are you ready?
Have you
I'm
taken
ready.
one for the team?
Hang on.
So
Strap in.
Oodles has watched this, which is a shame that he's off. I know he watched this over Christmas. Yeah, meh.
They're good.
Honestly. So I was never like massive on Avatar 1. Like, did it look amazing? Yes, it does look amazing. It was like groundbreaking technology, and it kind of sparked the whole revival of 3D again. But I always found the story and the script really lacking. It is essentially just retelling of Pocahontas, Dances with Wolves, that kind of thing. And it's the same problem with this one for me, unfortunately. I just didn't like the story and the script. Some of the characters grated on me. Is the stuff I did like. There is actually moments that are really great. There is a scene in the middle, like, let me start again. I'll set up the scene with this. Is Jake Sully has now got a family, him and Natiri. This is several years after the humans have picked up and gone off and back away. And he's now got a family. He's got 4 children, 3 of his own, and one of them is a immaculate conception from Sigourney Weaver's Avatar. And no one knows who the father is, but her avatar seemed to give birth to this girl called Kiri. So Jake Sully and his family have adopted her and raised her as their own. There is a few humans who stayed behind, who kind of decided to stay with the Na'vi, and there is a young boy called Spider, who is the son of Stephen Lang's character from the first film. But because he was a baby at the time, he couldn't be sent back to Earth in cryogen, so he stayed behind. But he is basically being raised like Tarzan, within the jungle,
Right.
with the creatures, with the people. He's basically a little Tarzan. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with this film. And all of a sudden,
Blue Cat Smurfs, yeah.
yeah, all of a sudden the Sky people come back and decide to come back and wage war as they look for something. So Jake Sully is now the leader of the Na'vi resistance, attacking the humans and their bases and their, like, whatever they're doing. So that sets up a whole war again between the humans and the Na'vi. But this time, Stephen Lang is back again. This is all like the plot synopsis. It's not spoiled. It's all kind of right at the beginning, all within within the opening kind of credits.
Okay.
Stephen Lang is back, despite being killed in the first film, because now all of their memories have been transferred into avatars. So now all the Marines from the first films are now avatars of Na'vis in this film.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So nothing there is spoiled. That is all within the trailer, all within the first couple of minutes in the setup.
Well, does that explain why I've seen a screenshot of a Na'vi wearing US commando outfits?
Yes.
I was wondering what that was. I thought, that looks a bit shit.
Yeah. So now let's get back into what I don't like about this film. So that's the setup, and from there we have 3 hours of them fighting at the beginning. They go off, they join this other clan who are this water Na'vis or whatever they're called. They're unlike that, they're not forest people, they're people who live on the beaches, and they know the way of the water. So they can like breathe longer underwater. They can they're one with the fish and one with the sea creatures. And Jake Sully and his family kind of get adopted into them, and it's just becomes a bit of it's kind of split into 3. We have this big battle at the beginning. We have all this section in the middle while the children and Jake and everyone learn and the way of the water, and then we have this like cat and mouse game between the Marines and that later on. But it's just bad. Like, the technology is fantastic. It really is. There are moments in this film, stuff like water, like genuinely the water looks real. Just woodlands and stuff like that. It looks incredible. But you'd expect that because that's what they've spent the last 12 years working on. It's it's unmatched by anything. Like the motion capture, the facial features, like it is better than anything I've ever seen. It is incredible. But it also has an issue where when you introduce humans into this world, is that they start to look a bit weird and fake because they're humans dumped into this like CGI world,
Yeah.
and it looks really weird. So that moments
it's always the lighting, isn't it? The lighting's always off on the humans when everything else around you is virtual. Humans are never lit properly for the scene.
Yeah. So whilst I think that it does look good with all like the fake creatures and the fake animals and wildlife and scenery, and that looks great. Mixing it with humans and everything, it can be a bit off-putting. But like the problem I have with this film, apart from it being, it's ponderous, it drags, it's way too long. Like I've said before that I don't care if a film is long if it makes sense and if it earns that length. This really doesn't. It needs a good like 45 minutes chopping out of it, which is weird because Cameron thinks that it's too short. He thinks it should have been longer.
James Cameron's always needed a good editor, and he's never had one.
Yeah, the problem with Cameron is that like the guy, when it comes to technology and direction and editing and certain parts of like cinematography and all that, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like not the editing side, sorry, like he does need an editor, but like when it comes to certain things, he's fantastic. But his dialogue, if he's writing the script and in charge of stuff like that, I don't think he's that good. Like, there's some of the dialogue in this is awful, and the way that the kids talk to each other like kids of nowadays, like they use a lot of bros and they call each other bro and cuz.
Right.
That's not a joke. Like they go, yo, bro, yeah, let's go, cuz. Where are they learning? Where are they learning that from?
I would say these alien creatures who
it really took me out of it every time they use the word bro, because the only person within their kind of living around is who knows that language is their dad and some of the humans who stayed behind. But they're all older people who wouldn't use that dialogue. Like he wouldn't call his kids bro and cuz.
No,
they've got YouTube.
Yeah, and it just space
YouTube.
It just felt really jarring, especially when you go to the children from the other tribe and they speak like you'd expect for these, these weird creatures from another planet in these tribes. The way they talk to each other is not like this, and it succumbs to a lot of tropes, especially with the younger child. I don't want to get into spoilers, but there's parts to do with the young girl of the family, which she, you know what I'm talking about, captured and falling off things and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
she becomes the punching bag.
Yeah, it's just I just couldn't get into it. I'm so bored throughout a lot of this film. I really was. I know people.
I don't remember much from the first movie. I know it's massive.
I know it's nearly $2 billion now, and I think a lot of that was having the fan base that it did have, but also interest. I went to see this film because I was so interested in what it was meant to be doing. When we had Craig on for our horror month.
Yeah,
he absolutely loved this film, and he's like, I don't see how you can be a lover of cinema if you don't go and watch this film. Like, it's a technical marvel. It's fantastic. It is a technical marvel, but everything else is just a massive turn off for me. Like, the whole Space Marines fighting them, and it's the same thing over and over again. It's like it's the same story from the first one. Just people, the Marines and humans fighting indigenous people.
So it's a tech demo.
Yeah,
he just does expensive Unreal 5 engine sort of demos, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all he does, because I think he's incredible for what he says, like the technical side, what he can do and show, because I remember being blown away by the first movie, just the 3D effects, because it was the first time it really looked like it was doing what it was supposed to. It was incredible. But other than that, I don't remember anything about the movie at all. And we've waited all this time for a sequel, and it's the same thing all over again.
The thing is, has anybody been waiting for the sequel other than James?
No,
Cameron?
but in the sense that he's saying he's going to do it, and it's taken 12 years? Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the market's there for it. It's on track to be like the fourth highest grossing film of all time. But I do think a lot of that is people being interested in what this technology is like 12 years on. And if I'm being honest, like the 3D aspect of it hasn't moved on much at all. Like, but everything else has. Like the detail and the minute details have moved on. I'm not really bothered about 3D. If I ever go and actually see the third film, I don't know if I will be bothered to go see the third film. I think I will be quite happy to wait and watch that on my nice TV at home, because the 3D just didn't sell me. There are nice moments with it where you have like kind of, you know, when there's something's burning and bits of ash and stuff is like floating around and stuff, and it's vibrant and things like that. But I just, it's the story and the dialogue just didn't grip me at all. There are moments in this film that actually were quite emotionally effective. There is a scene which is very much kind of, you are doing this to our Earth now. And it does a good job of making you actually feel uncomfortable and quite guilty about what we're doing on Earth. I'm not involved in it, but as a human being, it makes you feel quite guilty, like what they do in this film, the humans. And there is a moment involving the family, which I thought was actually really super effective and quite emotional. So there are bits in there that are really, really good, but it's just surrounded by a lot of flab and like things that just aren't good. Like, it really, really needed, like, the script, the dialogue, the editing just needed one big, massive go over. So, yeah, it's a 3 out of 5 film for me. Story's 2 out of 5. Visuals 5 out of 5. I met somewhere in the middle. So, yeah, Avatar, it's all right, but not very good.
And isn't he planning a third, fourth, and fifth?
It's supposed
third
to be
one's in production.
Syncology or something like that.
Third one's ready to come out in 2024 if everything goes to plan. This will be focusing more on kind of internal and tribal feuds and other like species around the planet, rather than it just being humans versus indigenous people again, or indigenous aliens. So I'm quite looking forward to that aspect, moving away from just human space marines versus aliens, and have it more of a, let's discover this whole alien world. And they're going to touch on fire, apparently, is what he said. So fire Na'vi.
His actual original aliens in there as well. Get them in.
Yeah.
Get the xenomorphs in.
Yeah, crush some xenomorphs in there and have a good old whale time. Yeah, I went in with an open mind, but I kind of knew that this is where I thought I'd end up at. So, watch the pitch meeting, then you'll see. Yeah, I've watched the pitch meeting now. I've seen the film, and I've read some of the comments underneath, and that just made me dislike the script even more.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's me.
It's a long movie as well, isn't it?
3 hours and 15 minutes. I needed to piss twice.
Especially with all that water.
Yeah.